At Great Wolf Lodge, there's adventure for the whole family. You and your pack can splash away in the indoor water park where it's always 84 degrees. There's a massive wave pool, a lazy river, and tons of water slides for your pack to enjoy together. And the fun doesn't stop there. Get ready to explore and play at adventure-packed attractions from Magi Quest, a live action game that takes place throughout the lodge, to the Northern Lights Arcade. There's also a bunch of great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. And the best part, with 23 lodges across the country, you're always only a short drive away from adventure. I took my daughter there for her birthday a few years ago, and we had the best time. We stayed in one of their themed suites. There was so much to do inside the lodge, as well as all the water fun. The staff were great. The lifeguards were on it too. Would definitely go again. So bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Book your stay today at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack.
Be proactive in your life. Don't be reactive. Don't wait for things to happen. And then you go ahead and be like, oh, now you need to make those changes. Be proactive in your life. And that means everything in how you take care of your body, right? So then when you do approach perimenopause and menopause, you'll be able to handle it better. You'll have tools in your toolbox like meditation and journaling and listening to Andrea's podcast. Do all those things so that you can get through all of it so much easier.
You're listening to Make Some Noise Podcast, episode number 693 with guest Wendy Valentine. Welcome to Make Some Noise Podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am so glad that you are here. You know what I did last week? I was in the studio recording the audiobook because I have a brand new book coming out. I do. I did it again. It's my 4th book. The title of it is Live Like You Give a Damn. The subtitle is coming soon, partly because I don't have it in front of me and I can't remember exactly what it is. That's the honest truth there. Live Like You Give a Damn. I am publishing it with Sounds True. They are a dream come true publisher for me. If you might remember, I did an audio program with them a few years ago. They were the first self-help company that I ever bought stuff from. They had paper catalogs back then, and my life had just fallen apart. This was back in 2006, and I was going to change it. I wanted to change it. I was finally at that place where I was like, okay, maybe it's me. Maybe it's me that is making me unhappy. Maybe I do actually have some agency in my life and some power and control to change my life. And so Sounds True was the first company that helped me do that. And so it's a dream come true to publish a book with them. And I'm excited for you all to read it. It comes out in the beginning of December. So stay on the lookout for that. There's going to be some free programs and things that go along with that to celebrate as we head into 2026 next year. Also, if you are interested in doing some deeper work with me, I am going to open up registration soon for a small, intimate group program that will be a handful of months long, and it is going to be focused on some deeper work. So if you're interested, I don't have an info page up yet, but please DM me on Instagram. I know a couple of you have, and I am keeping you in the loop when I get more information. DM me on Instagram. I'm Hey Andrea Owen over there, or you can email us support@andreaowen.com, or you can just keep listening to this podcast and make sure that you are on my email list because I send out emails, and that is where if there's going to be any discounts or extra bonuses, that's where that's going to be. And if you're not on my email list, andreaowen.com/free. Of course, all these links are in the show notes, so you can head on over there to grab those links. Today, I am welcoming back for the second or third time, Wendy Valentine. Wendy is just a pocket full of sunshine, so enthusiastic, just so lovable and so incredibly smart. And she specifically helps women in midlife. So let me tell you a little bit about her. Wendy Valentine is a reinvention expert, empowerment coach, and the author of Women Waking Up, the Midlife Manifesto for Passion, Purpose, and Play. She's also the creator and host of The Midlife Makeover Show, the #1 podcast inspiring women worldwide to embrace midlife as a powerful new beginning. After navigating divorce, menopause, job loss, debt, and an empty nest all at once, Wendy stopped living on autopilot and started designing a life that finally felt like her own. Her journey from breakdown to breakthrough fuels everything she does. So without further ado, here is Wendy. Wendy Valentine, welcome back.
Thank you, girl.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you back to celebrate your new book. It's called Women Waking Up, the Midlife Manifesto for Passion, Purpose, and Play. And I know that not all of my audience is in midlife, but a lot of them are, and a lot of them are past it. So I think that everyone will definitely enjoy this, and the people who haven't quite hit midlife yet will have something to look forward to.
Yeah, they can prepare for it.
You can prepare. Yes.
Yeah,
everything you need to know is in this book.
Yeah. I mean, really, I know. I think about that. Like, even guys could read this if they wanted to.
For sure. At least get a glimpse of what it's like for a woman. I want to start by asking you about limiting beliefs, because it's one of those things that we all have. I still have them, even though I've been working on them for more than 20 years now. But you talk about breaking free from them in the book. I'm curious, like, what are the most common disempowering beliefs that women have specifically in midlife, and how can they overcome them?
Great loaded question.
I know. Well, you know.
First of all, yeah, it's a limiting belief. So it definitely limits you and who you are and what you can do. I think at this stage in life, the most common one is it's too late. I'm too old. It's not going to matter anymore.
Why bother?
Why bother? Wah, wah, wah. And poo-poo on that. It's not true. The best way, and I would have to say this is the #1 thing that I did to change my life, was to really get quiet and to start listening to that ticker tape of thoughts running across in my mind. Because obviously, right, everything is so busy and so loud out in the world, and you won't be able to hear how you actually speak to yourself unless you get quiet enough. To really listen to those thoughts, give yourself grace, like it's okay, because you will hear some horrible negative stuff that you say to yourself or even about others or about life.
Yeah.
And you have to stop that thought and just go, okay, we're not doing that. And you do have to replace it with something positive and uplifting and empowering. And as we know, with neuroplasticity, you can actually rewire your brain. You can change your thoughts. And we've all heard it before, but it's also very true. You change your thoughts, you change your life, you change your entire world. And I'm living proof that it works.
Me too.
Yeah. And like you had said earlier, like you've been working on it for like 20 plus years. We're a work in progress. You're always going to be working on it, because it's not like we're just like, oh, I've arrived and now I'm good to go. It doesn't work that way. And I will still have thoughts that pop in my mind that like, oh gosh, what am I saying that for? That's silly. You end up coaching yourself, I think, through life.
Yeah. It's about, I tell people, and yes to everything that you said. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think that what that looks like is, I can't remember how you said it, but something about like, like taking inventory of your thoughts and working
like a ticker
on
tape.
Yeah. Just, first you have to know what it says, because so many of us go through life and don't even realize that it's happening. And then we're like, why do I feel like shit? Why is my life stalled? Why do I feel stuck? It's like, well, a lot of it is your thoughts. And I think what helped for me is noticing them. And also the very first step is having compassion for myself, because then you start to I call it the ultimate ass kicker when you beat yourself up for beating yourself up. So watch out for that.
Yeah. Oh, I did that so many times. Like,
oh, And then
We
getting
can be
curious.
so mean. We can be so mean to ourselves.
Yes, like
It's
double-ended.
so silly.
Yes. And then I just tell people, just do your best to get curious. Like start asking yourself questions is like what you said is like you start to coach yourself. You don't
Right.
have to immediately, it's not about immediately changing your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, your thoughts, as we know, your thoughts become your beliefs and then
Mhm.
result in your behaviors. And
Mhm.
then, we just become robotic in life. We're like, oh, you wake up one day, you're like, wait, how did I become this person? Well, it's
Mhm.
actually pretty easy to understand how you became that person because you were thinking, believing, and behaving that way yesterday and the day before and the day before. But if you can actually it's almost like we're all brainwashed, right? But it's whatever
We
we're
are.
brainwashed to believe. You
And
either
or who did the
brainwashed,
brainwashing?
yeah, exactly, right. I mean, it can come from social media, friends, family, society,
Culture.
anywhere.
Mhm.
Where it comes from doesn't totally matter. It's knowing that, okay, you can literally brainwash yourself into becoming an empowering, strong, beautiful, amazing woman, as you
Yeah.
should be.
You can rewash it.
Rewash that. Wash that. The correct way.
Wash those
Wash
thoughts
that.
out of my head. Exactly. We should be in advertising jingles.
I
I
know.
want to I want to talk to you about midlife crisis. Is it midlife crises? I think it's midlife crises.
Well, if you're
Crises.
talking about more than one
Mhm.
crisis, it's
Midlife
crisis.
crises. Well, they're
Yeah.
often seen as negative, and we have
Mm.
stereotypes for them. And I'm curious, how did your book challenge that idea
Yeah.
and try to turn it into something empowering?
I flipped that script completely. I don't think it's a crisis, it's a catalyst,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
I know. Isn't that nice?
Mhm.
But midlife is that time I feel in life where it strips away those rules and the roles and the expectations that we've been carrying for years. And you get to this point in, your 40s or 50s, and you're like, kind of going back to what we were talking about with thoughts and beliefs. And you're like, why am I doing things that way? Does
Right.
it really need to be that bad? What if I actually flip the script myself and make it into something positive? And it's really just taking back your power
Hmm.
in your own life to be who
Hmm.
you want to be. One of the most important things I did years ago during my midlife breakdown
Hmm.
was literally designing the woman that I wanted to be. My Aunt Annie said to me, she's like, as I was like bawling my eyes out on the phone to her every day. She's like, darling, you always wanted to be an actress. So just act like the woman you want to become. I was like, oh, I could do
Wow.
that. And I did. And I sat down and I journaled who I wanted to be, how I would eat, how I would sleep, how I would walk into a room, how I would speak, what would I do on a daily basis, who would my friends be, how would I think about myself, like how if I looked in the mirror, like what would I say to myself, every single detail. And then every single morning when I woke up, I was like, hello, new Wendy. I was like, and I just literally started acting
Wow.
like that woman every single day, which of course that goes back to your thoughts, back to your
Hmm.
beliefs. Like, would that new Wendy say to herself, "Oh my God, you look like crap today," or "Oh, you can't do this. Of course you can't write a book. Of course you can't start a podcast."
Hmm.
No, she would not say those things. She'd be like, "Yes, yes, you're doing this. You can do it.
Hmm.
You can do it." So that, I mean, that is key is to really think of we're so used to planning out the what, the when, the where, and the how, but we forget the who. Like
Yeah.
who do you really want to be?
I love that. I did that when I started a new relationship, like my first relationship out of my second marriage. I was like, okay, so I have a pattern that I would like to change. And that pattern is self-abandoning in relationships. What kind of woman doesn't do that? Like what kind of woman in a relationship, especially like what kind of woman when she starts a new relationship
Yeah.
doesn't self-abandon? Like what do those behaviors look like? And I wrote them out. And then I shared them with the other person that had decided to be in a relationship with me. I'm like, this is my to-do list. Do you accept these terms? This is what I'm after. And it
I
worked.
think I'm so glad you said that because I think that's number one with anything and wanting to change your life, to change yourself is awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right? How would you know what you want unless you know where you're at? It's kind of like you look at the map and it says start here, you are here, like where are you at? Going again, back to what you said earlier, giving yourself grace. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
let's see, how long ago was that? 7 years ago. I was going through divorce, disease, debt, depression, the death of my brother,
Yep.
menopause, black mold toxicity,
Girl,
Lyme
same.
disease, you name it. I was a hot mess. And of course, at first, I started to give myself a really hard time. I was in that place. And then I thought, well, I have a choice. Either go down this pathway where I'm going to keep spiraling downwards, or I'm going to go down this pathway and completely change everything.
That's one of the beauties of midlife that I have discovered is the amount of data that you now have to work with.
Yes.
There's so much. It's a gold mine. Look through it. It's like a treasure chest.
Yeah. I mean, you're old enough to know what worked and what didn't work. And you're young enough to still do something about it.
Exactly. Put that on a t-shirt.
I know, right? That would be, yeah.
It'd be a good chapter title. Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, it keeps going.
I figured that out when I was again, newly separated and what needed to look at, it was mostly about, well, I won't go into too much detail because it's not for children, but I was mostly interested in a certain aspects of my life that I wanted to change. And it was important to me. And so I was like, I'm going to go collect some data. And I was very open about it to the people I was collecting data with. And then I was like, okay. And then it just like allowed me to figure out, like, how did I get here? Because I woke up one day and was like, oh my God, I'm in my late 40s. I know that I don't like this life that I built, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. And I want to start something different. So first of all, how did I get here? Because that is, I think, a question. If you can answer that for yourself with so much compassion.
Yes. Yes.
Collect the data.
With so much compassion. Yeah. It's totally okay. And change is possible if you give yourself permission to change.
Yes, it very much is. Well, let's take a quick ad break. And when we get back, I want to talk to you. You have like these amazing frameworks from your books that I want to ask you about. So we'll be right back, everybody.
Taking on a DIY job around the house is the ultimate summer project. But if your DIY home security system is a beware of dog sign, when your real pet is Princess the cat, that's safe-ish. To be actually safe, help protect your home with a DIY system from ADT. It's easy to install and gives you virtual assistance from ADT's technical support team. Best of all, you can tell everyone in the neighborhood you set it up yourself. Don't settle for safe-ish this summer. DIY with ADT instead. Visit ADT.com to learn more.
This show is sponsored by MIDI Health. Let's be real. Midlife healthcare for women, historically trash. If you've been told like I have, it's just aging or you'll be fine when you're not sleeping, you're sweating through your sheets or feeling like a stranger in your own body, you are very much not alone. Even today, 75% of women seeking menopause or perimenopause care are left untreated. That's not okay. But there's good news. It's time for MIDI. MIDI is a women's telehealth clinic founded by experts in midlife health, and they actually listen. You get one-on-one, face-to-face care tailored to your unique needs. And they're the only women's telehealth brand covered by major insurance, making expert care accessible and affordable. From hormone therapy to weight loss support and lifestyle coaching, MIDI has your back. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized, insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
Hey, Fidelity. What's it cost to invest with the Fidelity app?
Start with as little as $1 with no account fees or trade commissions on U.S. stocks and ETFs.
That's music to my ears.
I can only talk.
Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Zero account fees apply to retail brokerage accounts only. Sell order assessment fee not included. A limited number of ETFs are subject to a transaction-based service fee of $100. See full list at fidelity.com/commissions. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Okay, your freedom framework has 7 steps. I don't want to give all the 7 steps away, partly because we don't have time and you and I like to yap. So can you tell us maybe what one of the steps are in that framework that seems to be the most difficult for your clients and the people in your community to embrace?
I would have to say, well, if you'd like, I'm going to give you really quick. I'm going to give you the cliff notes, one sentence on each one.
Yeah.
Step 1 is to free yourself from the limiting beliefs and self-sabotage. Step 2 is to reset your life by clearing out emotional and physical clutter. Step 3 is envision a new future filled with vitality and confidence and joy. Step 4 is, envision a new future. Did I already say that one?
Yes. What's the other E?
To discover, your potential passions and purpose. Step 5 is detach from tomorrow to start living for today. And step 6 is own your best self with unshakable boundaries and self-worth.
Ooh, yes.
That's a good one. And then finally, step 7 is master yourself so you stay grounded with life's inevitable ups and downs. To answer your question, I would have to say it's probably step 2 to reset your life by clearing out the emotional and physical clutter, mostly the emotional clutter, because it is giving yourself permission to actually do that to begin with. And clearing out, you're changing out so much in your life from your thoughts, your beliefs, you have to get real with yourself. Just like you were saying earlier, right? Like after your separation, and you have to look at your relationships and really get real and take responsibility with where you're at in your life. And that's tough. You have to have those tough conversations with yourself.
It is. I could see how that one would be tricky right from the start, because with a reset and taking inventory, you have to, I think it's unavoidable around emotions. Like you have to, anytime and y'all listening, you wouldn't listen to this podcast if you were, like, I didn't know we were going to be talking about feelings. Have we met?
Well, yeah. And you know what, too? You're a human being human, right? You're built with emotions. And it's about being aware of how you feel, how you think, how you're behaving, what you're believing, every single aspect of your life. And the more that you tune into that, the easier your life will flow. It's not to say that shit's not going to happen in life, because it will, right? Especially, I think, the older we get, right? Our parents are aging, the birdies are leaving the nest. There's all sorts of changes going on, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
Body changes, perimenopause, menopause.
A lot of people leaving their marriages around this age.
Yes. So the more in tune you can be with yourself, you'll be able to pick yourself up much quicker if you are more mindful and conscious. I mean, hence the name of the book, Women Waking Up. That's what it's all about. It is about being aware, not sleepwalking through life. I don't even think so much it's a midlife crisis as it is a coma. It's like, all right, let's wake up. Let's who we truly are. Wake up to your greatest potential.
Yeah. I appreciate you naming that and answering the question the way you did with such honesty, because I'll be very transparent. If you would have asked me even like 15 years ago when I very first started, if I thought that emotions and everything from emotional awareness, literacy, intelligent agility, because that all is part of emotional healing. If you would have asked me, like, do you think that's going to be a really big part of your work or even like your personal work? I would have been like, I hope not.
Because it's scary, right? Yeah.
Oh, the worst. Especially when I was still drinking. And then when I got sober, I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I know. And then it's really in your face.
Here it is.
One thing too, one of the greatest realizations I had, aha moments, as Oprah would say, was that I had a fear of abandonment since I was a little girl. I was abandoned when I was a little girl. And this fear was so strong for me that I became a perfectionist, a people pleaser. I mean, you name it, I was doing all the codependency, the whole 9 yards, right? I was always fearful of being left, of being abandoned. And then 50 years old, I can remember I was actually sitting on a little picnic table in Malibu, and all of a sudden it just hit me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I became my fear and I was abandoning myself.
Yeah.
And then I just remember thinking, I'm like, why am I doing that to my, like, I was so fearful of everyone else, but really I was just leaving myself behind and not allowing myself to grow and to evolve and to be the woman that I truly knew deep down I could be. And so I had to have that conversation with little Wendy, and I was like, girl, I got you. You can relax now. You are not going to be abandoned. Like, I got you.
Yeah, I have an almost identical experience in the trajectory of my growth as well. Like when the realization hits, and I know a lot of my listeners can relate to that because I've done many a podcast episodes specifically talking about self-abandonment, and people are like, "Oh my God, you're naming what I've been doing." And I think it's a special kind of hell when you realize that you've been participating to yourself the same behavior you've been so afraid of other people doing to you.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, the actions I have found, at least, for what it's worth for people listening, I think what you named is so important about reassuring yourself and telling yourself repeatedly through, whether it's through journaling or poetry or art or conversations with your therapist, whatever it is, that you have your own back. And then what I've also found is that the behavior that follows that, is important too. So that's like telling people what's happening before the resentment sets in.
Yes, exactly.
setting healthy boundaries. It's like truly asking for what you need instead of being passive aggressive or hoping that the other person is going to realize what it is that you need. And then you're secretly like those types of things. I could go on and on with a list of ways that we self-abandon. And so, that's a rough one.
I mean, and some of these realizations can end up resulting in the dark night of the soul, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. And embracing that. Did you experience that, do you feel?
Oh my God. The last 5 years. And I wrote about it, and I call it the longest sunrise, because the turnaround from this dark night of the soul has been the slowest I've ever experienced.
Yes. Yeah. But you learn so much about yourself, right? I felt like it was more like I wasn't broken. I learned I was like, I'm not broken, but I'm breaking open. I know it sounds corny, but it's true. That's how I felt. I was like, okay. And I always talk about this, like with the butterfly, right? The butterfly sits inside the chrysalis. And if you were to cut the top of that off and take the butterfly out, the butterfly would be deformed and it would die. So the butterfly actually has to struggle to get out of the chrysalis to set herself free. So the struggle is okay. Like, allow yourself to struggle. You're gonna be fine. You will be fine.
You're gonna land on your feet. Yeah. That's what I had to keep telling myself as well. And it's just that it's self-trust. It's like, it's the opposite of self-abandonment. And it's like getting to that point. I'm curious, and this actually wasn't on my list of things I wanted to ask you, but it just came to me because I don't think that we can have this conversation without talking about midlife and perimenopause and menopause, which is having a moment in the zeitgeist, which I'm so
it's crazy.
glad.
Yeah.
But of course it comes with its drawbacks, and things like that. But hormonally, like, I think the thing that fascinates me, as I've had a couple experts on talking about it, and it's interesting to me because I love science. And when I hear experts talk about how the way that the hormones shift, and I won't get into that because I'll probably get it wrong, but it does something to our brains, and by us, I mean women, where it sort of, and I'll probably botch it how I explain it, but it kind of takes away the part of us that has for many decades been able to be the nurturer and like put everyone first. And I think it's mostly estrogen that does that. And then when our hormones start to shift and sort of tilt a different direction, that's where we get to a place where we're like, oh, I don't have this drive in me anymore to radically put everyone before me.
Yeah,
and so that's when like kind of the fog starts to clear. And then I honestly think that is sort of the impetus for a quote unquote midlife crisis. What do you think?
Wow, I had never thought about that. I almost think that's a really good thing that we have such horrible brain fog and we're tired because we can't take care of everybody.
It just becomes too much. Yeah.
Yes. I had
Yes.
never thought about that.
This is
I
also
mean, maybe it's like this wild way of nature going, here, girl. Yes, I'm going to make you super freaking fatigued and you won't be able to think.
yeah.
So, but then you're going to come out of it just like the butterfly, and then you'll be able to come out of it with the intention of, I'm going to take care of myself this time instead of
Right.
everybody else.
I think I wonder too. I don't know this for sure. So nobody quote me on this. I've seen no research on this. It's my own theory. Is
Yes.
that I wonder because we live in times that we are not meant, like as humans, I believe we are not meant to live like we do. Mostly alone,
Wow.
not in community, not raising children together, not doing the things that community provides us. I think that and just like being in a digital world and
Yeah.
I was crying like a couple weeks ago. I was like telling my boyfriend, I'm like, I am not meant to sit in this chair for 6 hours a day. I'm meant to run through a meadow and nurse other people's babies. I'm not kidding. Like we just are meant to be, and we're also not meant to be bombarded constantly with the atrocities of the world. Like our nervous systems just cannot handle what is being handed to us as adult humans, as adult women. And so it makes me wonder, like, are we getting to a point in our lives where our bodies just cannot cope anymore with all of the stimulus that's being thrown at us? Like, hence, that's when we get brain fog. That's when we get overwhelming fatigue. Our bodies are, as we know, they keep the score. And then we just get to a point. I mean, this is the onset of autoimmune.
Yeah, it's almost like our bodies are keeping the score even of society. And just like what you were talking about, all of that, we soak it all up.
Right.
Not a good thing.
Midlife. Yeah. We get to midlife. And then that's when our body is just like, okay, if you won't make changes, we're going to shut down to get your attention so that you make changes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the key, right? Like we were saying earlier about if someone's listening and they're in their 20s or 30s, one bit of advice I can tell you is be proactive in your life. Don't be reactive. Don't wait for things to happen. And then you go ahead and be like, oh, now you need to like make those changes. Be proactive in your life. And that means everything in how you take care of your body, right? So then when you do approach perimenopause and menopause, you'll be able to handle it better. You'll have, tools in your toolbox like meditation and journaling and listening to Andrea's podcast.
Learning how to set boundaries. Yeah.
Do all those things so that you can get through all of it so much easier. I mean, that's what's great. Nowadays, there are so many different tools that we didn't have. You and I didn't have a lot of this stuff. We didn't have podcasts and the books. And I mean, especially specifically for women.
Yeah, we only had, what we had, I think what was sort of one of our kind of only options was listening to women who were older than us. Yeah. And I think that is something that we don't do enough anymore. I certainly didn't, even when I had the opportunity. And of course, like, pick wisely. I'm not saying like every older woman is going to be helpful to you, but I think that that's one of the things I love about midlife is that I want to ask you too, before we go to our next break, about people who might be listening who are having their kind of own dark night of the soul. Like what specific advice do you have for someone who is like in the weeds right now?
Well, again, think of the dark night of the soul as it's like a sacred initiation into the next best version of yourself. Embrace it. Definitely reach for help. Don't be afraid to, even if it's just calling up a friend and say, hey, I just want to have coffee. Even if you don't want to talk about anything, reach out, community, connection. And I mean, I did, when I went through, well, I guess I probably had a few of them, but
Me too.
But the first time I was almost like embarrassed or ashamed.
100%.
Because I was like, the self-help, queen. I'd read even your books. Like I did. And I was like, oh, I should have this together by now. Like, what the hell? And I never reached out to anyone, but they figured it out, of course, or like, Wendy, it's time to get out of bed,
Yeah.
And speaking of, that is just motivate yourself a little bit each day, even if it is getting out of bed. taking a shower, like anything that you could possibly do every single day, one tiny little change just to improve that day is great. Rome was not built in a day, and neither will the new you, right? You have to give yourself some grace.
I agree. I agree. I love that. When I had my first real dark night of the soul, I was in my very early 30s, and I was so embarrassed because all of my friends, that's like right around the age everybody's getting married and having babies and buying their first house and just like really starting their that part of their life.
Yeah.
And I was so ashamed of where I was that it was incredibly difficult for me to reach out to anybody. So if anyone's listening who's in that place, pick your people wisely, even if it's a therapist, and ask for help from there. Like you don't have to post it on your Facebook status. I mean, if that's your jam, you can, but I don't advise.
Yeah, no.
Oof. Okay. I love all your frameworks. Can you tell us what the stop, drop, and roll method is?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Oh, it's just a song that you sing?
No, I know, right? Stop, drop, and roll. It actually goes back to where we were talking about thoughts, changing your thoughts, changing your beliefs. When you do get quiet enough and you notice a negative, nasty thought running across on the ticker tape of your mind, just imagine a stop sign. Be like stop. And then this is what I do. I actually pretend I'm like grabbing it from the ticker tape, like it's in my hand. It's super hot because it's super nasty and rude and mean, and it does me no good. And just imagine like it's hot coal in your hand, and then just like drop it like it's hot. Dude. I like that song. Drop it like it's hot. And then roll in a positive, uplifting, kind thought. The one that the new you would actually want to hear. And yeah, because it's just not worth hanging on to all that negativity. Ugh.
Yeah, it is. I love that. I love a good framework. And I think that the visualization can be incredibly helpful. I have a couple of those. It depends on the client, like it depends on the person. Some people really love visuals and some people would rather have just thoughts or mantras, but anything quick that you can access, I love it. I love it. All right, we take one more ad break, and when we get back, I am going to ask you about self-reflection. So we'll be right back, everybody.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Ah, Smart Water. Pure, crisp taste.
That's really good water.
It's the kind of water that says, I have my life together.
I do feel more sophisticated.
Smart Water. For those with a taste for taste. Grab yours today.
Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Okay, so today's world is, as we've mentioned, very fast-paced. And what recommendation do you have for people who, well, I mean, I guess just, is there anything else you can tell us in terms of how someone can self-reflect? Because we've talked about that's like the important first step of just finding that self-awareness. I always say, like, you have to name it to tame it, and then leading to your transformation. And so how do you recommend that people do that when they have 17 million things to do in their life on their to-do list?
First of all, make yourself a priority. Even if it is having to get up earlier in the day. I know we don't want to because we're tired because we had hot flashes and night sweats the day before, but make it a priority. And what works for one person may not work for another. And you kind of have to be your own little guinea pig and see what does work, right? Try journaling, try meditation, therapy, writing
Walks.
letters to yourself, like anything and everything. I mean, self-reflection is reflecting on thyself, right?
Right.
It is taking that time to be able to take a look at yourself, take a look at your life, your relationships, finances, friends, like all of that stuff. Really take a hard look at your life. And yeah, you just have to make it a priority. We do have more time in our day. We just don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
We really do. Like,
It's about moving things around.
yeah. Yeah, it's not about having more hours, I think, in our day. It's just being more intentional. Just being more conscious of how you're spending those hours.
The way I look at it is like, I'm never going to tell somebody, use that 15 minutes that you have between meetings at work. Like, no. I call that confetti time. Like, it's kind of meaningless. It's not an actual whole piece of paper. Like,
yeah, exactly. I know.
No, it's too small. And so I just tell people to move things around. And I even I'll give people a quick example of how I did that. I now pay, I think it's only like $30 a year for an app blocker because I, like many people, can tend to doom scroll on Instagram or TikTok, but mostly Instagram is my worst one because people are funny and there's so much good information there. Like,
I know.
It's genuinely something I enjoy and find like it's not a massive waste of time. It's a little bit of a waste of time because I don't need that much time on there. So I got an app blocker where I can totally block out these apps for certain periods of time. And it's a pain in the butt to change it. So it's been incredibly helpful in terms of prioritizing my time. And I am getting more time back in my day. And so, I use that time where I would normally be scrolling to journal.
Yeah, one of the things I just learned recently, I mean, there's some free stuff out there too. On Audible, they have these sound therapy and they're free. There's tons of different ones. I just found this like a couple of weeks ago, but they have sound therapy for motivation, creativity, bliss, anxiety. Again, they're free. And you can just like pop your little AirPods in and just sit there and listen, or they help you to go to sleep. Like there's we don't have to like try to do anything massive and great to actually change our lives for self-reflection. I mean, it could be something as simple as just sitting there for 5 minutes and just taking nice, deep, slow breaths. Like simple as that. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, a 10-day silent meditation retreat. And again, if that's your jam, do it. But I agree. Like you can use YouTube is free. Spotify is free. I hate ads. So I have a paid account on Spotify, but I know that a lot of people listening to the podcast have some kind of app that they use for podcasts.
You just find what works for you.
You have to experiment. You have to experiment because I have found that traditional meditation does not, it's not for me right now in this time in my life. That's what I say. I'm like, because it might be later. But walking, definitely for sure. Sometimes like guided meditations, like you were mentioning, those work for me too. But I am someone where, I don't know if it's my ADHD brain or what, it's too much work for me to get to a place where meditation feels like it's working. So I'm like,
I'm not going to do guided meditation. I cannot, I have a really hard time just sitting there in silence. But guided meditation is awesome. Or if there's a little bit of music in the background, then that's great too. And especially the one like those that are on Audible, and helps to literally change your brain waves and slow them down, which that is nice.
Yes, 100%.
Sometimes my brain is like.
I recommend that to clients sometimes, especially my clients who tend to be self-help junkies. Yeah. I tell them, when you go on a walk, just don't put on anything, like no music, no podcasts, nothing. And then usually the assignment that I'm giving them is just to see what comes up during that time, not necessarily do it for meditation. It's like, well, what happens? Are you mad at me? Like, are you thinking about how mad you're at me for the assignment? That's fine. Like, just like you're collecting data is what you're doing to try to figure it out.
Yeah. And I think of meditation, it's more just being mindful. It's just mindfulness. You're just paying attention. You're just watching your thoughts. Like meditation, the point of it is not to stop your thoughts. You're always going to have thoughts. It's just watching, observing, no matter what they are.
I'm going to say one more thing about the benefit of doing it the way that we just were talking about. And this is something I've seen in retrospect from doing personal growth work for so long, as well as being a woman in midlife. Is that I I have found that as time has gone on and I've been consistent in my personal growth work, which by consistent, I also mean sometimes like consistently inconsistent. Like I'm not saying I work on it every single day, but I always come back. I have found that with time, I'm able to make the connections faster and better in terms of like my own behavior and my own thought processes and my own reactions to people and things, like faster because I work on it. It really truly is a practice.
It is. You know what? And this is something I just realized last week. I was driving the RV from Miami to Atlanta, which was quite a drive. And I had a thought that popped in my mind, something that I was worrying about, but I only worried about it for about 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on to like, I don't know, I went on thinking about something else. And then I was like, wait, whoops, I thought I was just worrying about something. And I literally could not remember it. And I was like,
that's amazing.
Yes, I mean, I was a chronic worrier, not a warrior.
I wish I was a warrior.
Horrible. Yes, I was so bad. Like I would lay, in bed at night, just be like so stressed about something like for hours. And it was so silly. Mm-hmm. And then now it's like, I almost have a hard time worrying.
Same.
But that again, that's practice, right? You have to like trying to wire your brain to not worry.
Right. Which is hard because we know, this is at least my experience. Like I would, when people would say like worrying, it's like a rocking chair, like, but you're not going anywhere. And like, I knew that it wasn't helping. Like,
right.
But I knew that in my mind, but like my nervous system didn't know that. And so my nervous system was like, no, this is our job.
Yeah, exactly.
To do with the worry.
Yeah. We go into fight, flight, or freeze. That's what we do. Yeah.
I was definitely getting a lot better, but I have to thank plant medicine, honestly, like ketamine and ayahuasca and psilocybin, like has massively helped me make those connections because it's really what it's doing to our brains. Like it helps us rewire them. And like, I'm the same. And it's like, and it's, what's interesting to me too, is like, I have moments now where I'm like, oh, my circumstances are the same as they were a couple months ago when I was very worried about this thing, but I'm just not worried about it anymore.
Yes.
I'm just
Isn't
like,
it nice? So
that's self-trust.
I meant to ask you about that. So you did do ketamine. I did ketamine as well in Santa Fe.
It was the beginning of such a fantastic personal growth trajectory for me. And I don't think that it's for everyone. I always want to say this. Like, I don't think it's for everyone. The people who feel curious and called and that who do it, it can be life-changing in that I think all the things that we do, like talk therapy, and even if like somatic things, reading books, the podcasts, the workshops, all of it's helpful. And for me, in my experience, ketamine and other plant medicine moved the needle faster and quicker. So it was like a booster is what it was.
What was the biggest change that happened from that?
So many. I'll just like off the top of my head, what I just mentioned, like I am now able to make connections so much faster. It's almost like getting a 10x mirror, and like when you're at a hotel and they have a regular mirror and the lighting's good. And then you look in that 10x mirror, you're like, oh my God, are my pores always like this? That's how I feel. Like, I feel like my thoughts are under a 10x mirror and I'm like, oh my God, there they are. There they are. There's that one. That's the bugger. And I'm able to change them. I also feel like so many of the lessons that I've learned and taught over the last 20 years have now been alchemized. And by what I mean by that is that we can, so for example, just like the topic of worthiness of like, being enough, like as human, like a lot of people will say like, I know I'm enough, but my behavior doesn't show that. Like it's not in my bones yet. That's what I feel like plant medicine has done for me. It has helped me to alchemize the lessons that my brain knows so that my nervous system knows them.
Yeah, because you can tell yourself good stuff all day long, but unless it's in your bones, like you say.
It needs to get into your subconscious, which is where most things are hiding.
Yeah. Do you remember back in the 80s, those pictures, those paintings that they were just like, it looked like a blob or like a bunch of dots. Mm-hmm. And then, you'd stare at it and then all of a sudden you'd be like, oh my God, it's an eagle flying over a mountain. And then
there's a specific name for that in psychology. I can't remember what it is. Yeah.
And, they'd be like, I don't see it. You don't see that. I see it. That's how ketamine was for me. It was just complete clarity. I was like, I see it. I was like, I got it. I was like, duh.
That's a good, excellent. That's a good way of explaining it. Same.
Yeah.
And all of them have been slightly different in what they've helped me accomplish in terms of my personal growth. And I love all of them equally. I mean, it's been life-changing for me. So
it's just like getting you to that next level and that next level and that next level.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll put links into, because I have discount links for a couple of different plant medicine. And also I'll put the link into that app blocker that I told people about.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, we're going to put the link into Women Waking Up, the Midlife Manifesto for Passion, Purpose, and Play. Yeah. Is there anywhere specific that you want people to go? Because this book, as this is airing, it just came out yesterday, September 9th, correct?
Yes. So exciting. I'm here in New York during the launch, and which is great. It's actually what I manifested. I was like, I want to be in New York City when my book comes out. So
amazing.
It's awesome. But yeah, I mean, you can buy the book anywhere. But if you go to womenwakingup.com, there's links to buy the book, and you can get all of the bonuses as well, which includes guided meditation.
Nice.
I know.
For women in midlife. I love it.
Yeah, there's lots of freebies with the book, which is great.
Yeah.
Even the Women Waking Up Spotify playlist. You can go to that now.
I love it. I had Spotify playlists for most of my books, not this one coming out, but for most of them, I have done that too. So I love that. I'm so excited for you and for this book and for women in midlife everywhere. And if you're not that age, you can absolutely makes a great gift.
Yeah, buy it for your mommy.
Buy it for your
sister,
mom,
your friends.
or
really, it still applies to anyone.
It does. I know your work definitely applies to all people. And so thank you so much for being here. And
thank you so much, Andrea.
Yeah, always a pleasure to talk to you. And everybody, thank you for your time today. I'm so grateful that you choose to spend it with me and my guests. And remember, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. Bye for now. Hey, did you know there's free secret podcast episodes waiting for you that are not part of my regular podcast feed? Yes, AndreaOwen.com/free. And you just sign up. You get a link sent to you. It's very secret. It's like a secret club. We don't have a secret handshake. Don't worry about that. But it's these motivating podcast episodes that I made for you. They're under 20 minutes each. There's 3 of them. They're for wherever you are in your life. So head on over there and grab them. They range from really supporting you and seeing you where you are and being compassionate, all the way to giving you a giant kick in your ass and telling you how amazing and gorgeous and phenomenal you are. So AndreaOwen.com/free and get your hands on that free podcast feed.